Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital. Your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
It's another new year and another exciting edition of the Nebraska Lottery's popular Cash Blast promotion. You know how it works. Until March 24th, buy a 2x2 ticket and get a voucher. Enter online for a chance to win a $5,000 or $500 weekly prize. And if your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. So start out your 2026 with a bang. Enter the Cash Blast promotion today. 2x2 top prize odds are 1 in 105,000.
Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing, a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovbneb.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Ladies and gentlemen, Austin, it's winter weather outside. What is going on? What happened to 60 degrees, sunny, and no wind?
Dude, I was in Phoenix 2 days ago. I was in Phoenix on Monday. I come back.
Even more of a shock for you then.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. So I love cold weather, but I got to admit, I kind of got used to the 60 degrees and sunny. I went outside, took the dogs outside, so they go to the bathroom. I'm like, whoa. It's
Wait
like
a minute.
I got my shorts and T-shirt. I'm like, this ain't going. I'm even in jeans. I know I'm sitting down. You can't see me. I'm in jeans, and I wore this thing that's like 20 years old, but it's just so comfy. I can't let go of it. And I'm still like freezing. I'm terrified about this spring. Like, are we going to get hit with winter weather come March? That's what kind of makes me nervous.
It's Nebraska, man.
It is.
Nebraska.
Is. I love it, though. The unpredictability is half of what's fun, and what's half of what's maddening. It's half of what makes me love living here in general. I'll just address the elephant in the room. If you're watching on the Tube of You or TV or anywhere else, no, Austin did not beat me up before we went on air. By the way, shout out to Jake. He's feeling under the weather today. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. In the meantime, producer Austin and I will have a whole lot of fun in the process. So, I don't know. My eyes started bothering me on Sunday. Wasn't a big deal. Kind of was rolling with it. It just wouldn't go away. I was like, I don't think it's peak eye or anything. I know what that feels like. Go to the doctor. They give me some eye drops. I used them last night. And, let's just say I had an allergic reaction. So that's why I look the way I do. But I was going to make some jokes, getting a Toradol shot, all this stuff. There was none of that. Okay, that might come off wrong to somebody. It was just supposed to be a joke. But we're going to plow through today. Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Matt Rule breaks his silence. Spring Ball Saturday. Are you ready? Are you used to that idea yet? Like February 21st?
You know, it seems way too early. I also didn't realize Ash Wednesday was yesterday.
Yep.
You know, that really snuck up on me.
Mm.
It's one of those things that, I kind of talked myself out of, caring about spring football. I'm like, gosh dang it. I read the press conference quotes. And I'm not saying I'm back in drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm interested in this team again.
Yes.
And maybe it's because we didn't hear from Matt Rule so much over the offseason. I think it was, a targeted offseason of silence in a lot of ways that I hope has done the program some good.
Dude, I think you make a great point. I even spoke recently about Matt Rule's silence. What does it mean? Is it a big deal? No deal? Do we care about it a little bit, a lot of it? I think it means something because the man does a lot of press conferences. He's a very good public speaker. The fact that he chose not to do them means something. I think it shows, and we don't have to spend all this time on this again, but we will get to the eventual press conference here in just a second. I think it shows that he understands it's more about what happens on the field than what's said behind the podium. Like, he didn't know that already, but it's like more than ever. It's nut crunching time. He's aware of that. I think also, let's be real, it gives you more time to spend with 2 new special teams coordinators, a new defensive coordinator, all these new players, new quarterback, 3 new offensive linemen that hopefully are competing for starting jobs, earn them, let the best man win. I'll never change my mind on that. But I do think it's like, all right, it's down to nut crunching time. We got to get better at football itself. He even talks about, it's about the basics, the fundamentals, the technique. When he was asked in today's press conference about the defensive line specifically getting better, it's kind of hard to measure that because, we've talked about this. I think when you've been with me in the past, Jake and I, if the defensive line looks good in spring, is that because the offensive line isn't good? If the offensive line looks good, it's because the defensive line's not good. So how do you gauge it? Well, anybody can put on a practice film. They can watch an individual session, a 9-on-7, and be like, that's good hands, that's low pad level, that's great, get off, or it's not. And that is one way you can gauge, and it's undeniable. What are some other things you might be looking for as far as how we gauge improvement or lack thereof this spring?
It's going to be interesting, as always, I think, to see the depth at various positions. I think the starting offensive line feels pretty solidified just based off the transfer portal. But, in the trenches, Adam, there's a lot that goes on. Some of it legal, some of it not legal. And guys end up needing backups. What does Nebraska's depth look like? I said offensive line, but defensive line I would lump into that conversation. Do we have an RB1 after spring? Or is that something that goes all the way through fall? But I think ultimately it's, health. Nebraska's got a laundry list of guys who are missing spring ball. You got to, I think, avoid adding to that as best you can. Because this is a Nebraska team that was one of the youngest in the Big Ten last year. I don't think it's a group that can afford many injuries this year, even with another year of experience. Just stay healthy. See if you can start. I don't think we want to have too many positions solidified, coming out of spring, but there should be a pecking order. We should know who's going to get the first crack in fall camp. And then if there's any movement from there, so be it.
Like who's going to get the first team reps? Because you got to continue to earn the job. Now, some things are a little bit different. Maybe they declare the starter a quarterback at the end of spring because it's more of a leadership role. But as a general whole, I'm on board with you. You have an idea. And I will say this, Holgorsen made it very clear who the top 3 receivers in his mind are today. He was asked about the younger guys, and he talked about them, and he goes, but the 3 guys I'm focused on are Isaiah Jacory and Quasi Gilmer. And he's like, we went after Gilmer hard. A lot of recruiting, a lot of guys, a lot of teams wanted him. And he's like, that dude just looks different right now. He did joke. He goes, I hope they can catch. We haven't thrown them a ball yet. I'm pretty sure we know they can all catch. But we get the point. How do they actually produce on the field? Because they look really good through 6 weeks of winter conditioning so far. Before we get too far down this press conference reaction show, let's give a couple of shout-outs here. It's the noon hour. And as you fine folks know who follow this program, Mulberry Barbecue. Good friends of this show for a long time. They have 2 locations at 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, full slab of ribs, half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus, get incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today and make your dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue. Again, located at 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. So there are a few guys that he mentioned that's going to be out. Carter Nelson, unfortunately, is going to be out. There's going to be a few other guys that are going to be out. I mean, when it comes to the tight end position, and I know Carter's listed as a tight end, I see him as a little bit of a hybrid, kind of like Janier Bonner. Like Holgorsen basically said, he's another wide receiver / tight end. I got a little bit offended when he's like, as a former D end, he goes, he'll go down, he'll lay the wood to, hence his nickname, defensive ends and linebackers. And I'm like, whoa, all right. Now, as a former D end, I get a little bit offended by that, but not really, because that's a heck of a compliment to him. When you hear things like, maybe Carter's out, but you hear guys like Janier Bonner are obviously going to be back in the fold. And Holgorsen said that flat out changed what they did on offense when they lost him game 1 last year. Guys like that are back. Some of the guys we're going to be keeping an eye on. What are some of the things that stick out to you from some of those early comments early in the press conference there, Austin? Yeah,
I mean, I still think the list of injuries came to a bunch of, interesting names. I mean, Demetrius Bell still being out. That's a guy I was pretty excited about a couple of years ago. Tore his ACL in the spring game and then got surpassed by Jacory Barney and hasn't ever really seen the field. You think about a Rex Guthrie missing spring ball. Adam, I think that's a big bummer because that's a guy that came on to start last year. For him to miss the spring ball where he, maybe not a fully established starter, but a guy that probably would have gotten the nod, to miss that spring ball seems like a big deal to me. Gunnar Gatula, right? A guy there that played some really key reps for Nebraska along the offensive line. And then really, I think the big one down the list then is Dawson Merritt. Really unsettled linebacker room.
Yes.
That's a young guy that I know Jay Foreman's pretty excited about. I mean, has the pedigree from what his dad's done, the Alabama stuff, Nebraska and him. I think that's a big one. I think Dawson Merritt had a really good chance to play his way into some really consistent reps, but missing spring ball as a young guy, I mean, is an older guy, and it's a new scheme, so maybe, for all of them it's bad. But when I see Bell, I see Guthrie, I see Gatula, and I see Merritt missing spring ball, not just, limited, but out for spring ball, that's a little bit of a concern for me.
I think you nailed it. And if I could pick one name, because all those stick out, like you said, Guthrie started towards the end of the year. Been waiting on Demetrius Bell just to get healthy to see what he showed 2 springs ago, and then unfortunately got hurt. But I would point, honestly, to the name that stuck out to me the most as he was reading him off to start the press conference was Gunnar Gatula. This is a guy who has started multiple games as a freshman, as a sophomore, and has yet to be able to really get reps in a spring practice because he missed spring last year.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's got Sunday talent, who's got ability, who's got a bunch of experience. And it's not his fault. Obviously, he doesn't want to be hurt. He's not getting the opportunity to develop as much as he fully can for the second off season in a row. That doesn't mean he can't be a good player, but it means it's going to be harder again. Now, does he have to start? No, he didn't have to start last year either. You look at Justin Evans and Elijah Pritchett and the 3 transfers that we brought in, and you kind of project them all to start, especially Justin Evans and Elijah. And obviously they brought in the 3 transfers for a reason. You're going to have to earn it, guy. I'm always going to be that guy. But man, you need that rotation. You need that depth. Injuries happen. Things happen throughout the season. It's a tough Big Ten schedule every year, okay, but especially this year. So for me, it's those guys that hopefully they can find ways to get better, even if they're not putting the pads on February and March.
Which mental reps are great. The physical reps, man, for a Nebraska team that needs to get more physical, that needs to get better at playing actual football, not hypothetical football, I think would go a long way. The other thing that stood out to me, Nebraska going to afternoon practices in the spring and fall, which isn't a big deal. Who cares when they practice? But this is one of those, I'm just probably a little jaded right now, Adam, because I can't wait to hear the first 11 o'clock kickoff. Nebraska comes out slow. Well, we moved practices to the afternoon, and last year we handled these fine, but this year is just different for our guys, which can be true, but also I don't want to hear it. I don't care when they practice. It shouldn't matter. But I can guarantee right now, Thursday, February 19th, that comes up when Nebraska gets off to a slow start in an 11 a.m. game. Well, we move practices because, we expect to play in prime time and in big time games. And, we knew that, that's what the big time teams do. And that's the rationale Rule gave. He said he researched college football playoff teams, especially the northern ones, and they're doing a lot of afternoon practices. It's just another one of those things that was practicing in the morning broken. Was it not working? Or is it just a change for change's sake? Again, it probably doesn't matter, but it's just funny to hear.
It's interesting because I've practiced in the afternoon. And then, when we would have, we did it like 1 week, one time. And I think it might have been Nicholls State. So I think it was more of a trial and error week because we kind of knew we were going to beat Nicholls State. All of a sudden we practiced in the morning and I was getting up at 5 a.m. or whatever it was, 5 or 6, because you get up at 6 to play at 11. And so I've done a little bit of both. It was interesting when Frost came in, and he was really the first Nebraska coach that made a consistent morning practice. He made a compelling case. He's like, hey, if your last hard practice is Thursday morning at 8 and you're done by 10 versus 2:30 and you're done by 4:30, whatever that math is, 6 to 8 additional hours of recovery you have to walk through on Friday. And then before you play on Saturday, that matters. That adds up over time. I would also say, and you'd probably agree, let me know, it was a different Big Ten.
Much.
Like you're not traveling out to Oregon and then coming back here and going to Maryland, coming back short week, going back up to Minnesota. By the way, no excuses. I remember Nick and I at the College World Series on site in Omaha. We talked about out to Maryland, back home, out to Minnesota on a Friday on a short week. We didn't want to hear any excuses. This was in the middle of freaking June. We talked about it. Months later, to your point, we heard it brought not a ton, but we heard it brought up. I loved Holgerson's response. He goes, I've done it in the morning. I've done it in the afternoon. The schedule is what it is. There's pluses, there's minuses to either one. Head coach's call. Just roll with whatever the schedule is and let's go. I loved his press conference today. I really enjoyed Orich as well. Like I enjoyed the way he kind of seems to approach things. It's like, hey, we've got players. We've got talent. We've got ability because obviously, Butler was let go. He clearly didn't believe that he had the right guys in the room. That's all been talked about in the past. But he's like, we got talent. We got what we need to win. How long does it take us to put the pieces to the puzzle together? What's that process like? And then he said, you've got a roster that not all of us, we didn't all choose the roster as coaches. And it's our job to figure out who does fit best where based on the team we have now trying to have success next season. And I was like, dude, freaking love that.
It sounds like
I
Rule
love
when he
that.
first came in.
Yes.
It's not those guys and our guys. It's you're on the team, you're one of my guys. It's huge.
I love that. So I really enjoyed hearing Holgorsen. Holgorsen is just going to Holgorsen. He's been doing it for 33 years. He's not going to change who he is, and I love that about him. Orich is obviously like he was asked about this. It's not the exact words, but the scale of being at Nebraska. All right, and probably wasn't the same where he was at Idaho and whatnot. And he goes, "Yeah, you're right." He goes, "It's exciting, but football's still football." And I love that response. I loved a lot of his responses. I thought Rule's always going to do a good job at a press conference as well. But it was more introductory, kind of answering those initial questions, why was spring ball moved up? And his answer made a lot of sense. I'd heard little pieces here and there. You hear little things from people you trust, maybe some people you don't. You try to figure it out, whatnot. He goes, basically, we had 6 weeks of winter conditioning. The calendar was different. You mentioned Ash Wednesday kind of snuck up on you. Like, the calendar's almost been moved up, changed a little bit. They've got 5 weeks. I believe there's going to be a spring break in the middle of this spring ball, which is a little bit interesting. But essentially 4 weeks worth of practice to get in 5 weeks. But with the calendar being a little bit different, they could do 6 weeks of winter conditioning, spring ball, and then they could have 6 weeks more of conditioning afterwards, which I was like, that makes a lot of sense to me because we got to get bigger, faster, stronger if we want to be more physical. And then I'm sure they'll have a little bit of a break, and then you've got summer conditioning. Now, I'm not normal, Austin. You probably put this together. Okay. Like, don't look at me now. I got to start working out and getting in better shape again. But like, I love working out. When I interviewed Zach Taylor a while back, he's like, dude, I thought you were going to be a guy who worked out for a living. He's like, I had no idea you talk. And I was like, well, nobody knew I would talk back then. I didn't know I would talk, but I love to work out. Not everybody's like that. The only question I had is, 6 weeks winter conditioning, phenomenal. 6 to 8 weeks is like the perfect time frame. You got spring ball, then you got 6 weeks to get bigger, faster, stronger again, a little bit of a break, and then you've got an 8-week summer conditioning. And I love this. My only question is not everybody's quite built like that. I hope it doesn't become a little bit too lengthy in some of those players' minds. I don't want to say 14 weeks of conditioning because there's going to be a break in there. Yeah. But not everybody's built like that. Not everybody is kind of off their rocker as I am. But if they maximize every day, and I think it was Justin Evans who talked about 1% better, 1% better. I've not heard that from them in a couple of years because that was Rule's big thing when he came here. And I was like, yes, because I totally ripped it off, by the way. I've used 1% so much. And I've done it in front of Rule when he asked me to talk to in front of the team a couple of years ago. I was like, I love the 1% thing. I'm totally going to rip it off. So he's aware that I'm ripping him off. My point is, I loved hearing it again for the first time. Now, maybe they've said it and I just didn't hear it, but hearing it again for the first time in quite a while, it's like, yes, it's about the process. The end result will eventually come. What other thoughts do you have, Austin?
Can I just say maybe Nebraska football needs some more off the rocker guys?
Richie Incognito type guys?
I just guys that embrace the grind.
Yes.
That love it. Like, I mean, they absolutely need more edge on the field. Maybe that's something that can be developed in the weight room or in the team, but either you have it or you don't. In a lot of cases, I'm not sure there's as much edge on the team as Nebraska needs. I'd love to be proven wrong, but have those guys that, okay, yeah, it is a grind. You know what you sign up for. There are going to be days, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you hate it, there are going to be days you feel great about it, days you really don't. But to be off your rocker enough, like we were just talking with Coach DeMagro, to show up anyways. What you got this day, right? Jay Foreman would always say, get to 85%. That has to be your worst day when you grade out at it. I don't want to be the one to question effort. I'm not in there. If they're working as hard as they can, that's a whole nother issue. We got to recruit better, find guys that can work harder or to be a little bit better physically. But my impression from the outside is there an extra 1% in all these players? I would hope there is. I would hope they can find it. And whether it's, Corey Campbell, whether it's leaders in their rooms, or maybe it's just deep inside of them, I hope that all 120 odd players on the roster find ways, even if they're not going to jump fully off the rocker, at least scoot forward in the rocker a little bit, and be a little bit closer to off the rocker in the good line pushing, boundary pushing, challenge each other, get the best out of each other way.
Dude, I legit could not agree with you more. We now have one of the highest paid strength coaches in America. Let's get the most we can out of him because his job is to get the most he can out of our players. So it's interesting. I'll tell people, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the ticket. I probably have. I do a whole bunch of public speaking. One of the things I'll talk about is you're not going to feel like 100% every day.
How many days were you 100% in the NFL?
Day one of 2 a day. Then day 2 would roll around. I never felt the same again.
Right.
Like it's a joke, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I knew that was the best I was going to feel all year. I think I've shared this in the past. I mean, I brought up the Toradol because I got a Toradol shot before every game. That was something Leroy Glover, who'd been in the league 13 years, told me about in St. Louis. I thought Toradol was just something you got when you were really, really hurt and you were trying to play. It's like, no, you just get it every game because you're going to get banged up.
Yeah.
And then, I came to a point where I was dealing with a legit shoulder injury. Probably should have just had the surgery. I got hooked on Vicodin at one point. And I didn't realize it until I quit taking it. And I was like, oh, I think I have withdrawal right now, Angie. This is bad. I think I was hooked on it. Now, my point is this, circling back to what we were talking about, not every day are you going to feel like, uber motivated, because motivation wants to take days off based on how motivated you are.
Yeah.
Discipline picks up on the days where motivation wants to take a day off. Mm-hmm. Discipline is doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. It's easy to do something when you're motivated. And I'll tell the way I'll say it to young kids, if I'm talking to a group of younger kids, like, maybe middle school, maybe even high school kids, I'll be like, hey, you may not feel like every day. You may not hit a home run every single workout, but you got to step up and you got to swing. Mm-hmm. And you got to find a way to get on first. Maybe that first, or getting to first, is taking a fast 95-mile-an-hour fastball, metaphorically speaking, to the shoulder. Maybe it's getting a walk. Maybe you strike out, but you were willing to swing. Maybe it wasn't your best day, but you showed up, because the instant you start missing at bats or you start missing days, the next day becomes that much easier to miss. The next time it gets hard. You train yourself to show up and build toughness when you're not as motivated and discipline kicks in. You also can train yourself to become, I'm just going to say it, a little bit softer when you're not as motivated and you don't have the discipline to show up and you won't even step up to the plate and try to take a swing. Those are the guys that when it gets tough, they don't get going. All of a sudden, you don't see them anywhere. Or all of a sudden, they're the guys that they're in the back, they're really quiet, when early on in the season, they were the rah-rah guys, but somehow as the season goes along, November rolls around, they kind of disappear. I hope that makes sense to you, Austin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it fits. And, we're talking about it in the context of football. Mm-hmm. Isn't that life?
Yes, it is. So usually when I use that baseball analogy, I'm talking about workouts.
Yeah.
It's usually people, it's usually high school kids or maybe 8th graders who are just starting to work out, and they're really, really excited, and then they get sore, and then, oh, man, it's, and then you get those juniors and seniors who've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, and it's easy if you're the kids that have the hardest time is the ones who maybe aren't getting the chance to start like they would like their last couple of years of high school, and they know, man, I'm not a freshman, sophomore. I'm probably not going to get that chance, but you want to walk away knowing you gave everything you had. And also, if you are a guy who is going to play a lot, going to start, you want to know that when you step foot on that field on Friday night or on the basketball court a couple times a week or whatever it is, the diamond, whatever it is, you are as prepared as you can possibly be, because preparation helps eliminate fear. And and toughness is built through discipline. Again, where motivation drops off, discipline kicks in. That's where you build toughness, and that's where you step on the field, and you can be as confident as you can be. You should always have butterflies, because that means you're excited. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
It means you're alive. You're feeling. You're ready to go.
It means you care. Okay, if you ever do something, you're just like, might looking to doing something a little bit different. So to me, that all tracks. That all makes sense, and it's something that I'm not saying we haven't had it in Nebraska. What I'm saying is I would like to see more of it consistently. All right. Any final thoughts before we head to break here?
We got one text from Gus Mohawk. Adam, with the new defensive staff, what players do you think fans have overlooked might get a chance with the new coaching staff? Gus Mohawk throws out Willis McGahee, Jordan Ochoa as 2 options.
Those are 2 great options. So the first name that popped into my head, and Rule actually said he looks different. All right, in his press conference stage, one of the first names he brought up was Riley Van Poppel. Now, he was brought up a lot last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he played as well as he had hoped or he's physically capable of. That's okay. It's a learning process. You find consistency, you build toughness, all that good stuff. Hopefully he's exponentially better this year than he was last year. Just like when I was, what is he, a junior? Is he a sophomore?
Played, redshirted, should be a junior this year. But who knows in the NCAA anymore?
He's got 19 years of eligibility.
Let's call him a junior.
Yeah. He's got 19 years left to play. My biggest leap of improvement probably came from the year I redshirted to my redshirt freshman year, just because everything wasn't brand new and terrifying to me. And I actually knew some people. I moved halfway across the country from everything and everyone I'd ever known. That was hard for me. And I didn't talk. So anyways, My next biggest year of improvement was sophomore to junior year. I made a huge jump because all of a sudden I didn't have any game experience, really, as a sophomore, and all of a sudden I was supposed to start. Well, then I had it. And I was like, as a junior, I'm like, all right, everything I've done a million times. Now it's time to put my foot on the gas and take off. And that's the way I looked at it. I'm kind of hoping that Riley Van Poppel does that as well. Now, I don't think he's been overlooked. As far as actually, I think Willis McGahee is a perfect name because he's athletic. He's fast. You watch his high school film. And yes, maybe it's because I know his dad was, a great running back, but I'm like, dude, I could see that guy playing running back, but he's on defense without athleticism, and he likes to hit. I'm just kind of waiting for him to put it all together.
Yeah, I think McGahee, the other thing that stands out to me, that was a really popular transfer portal name. He's not playing. He redshirted. Is he really going to stick around? He did. Yeah. Let's hope he reaps the dividends. I think that'd be a great guy for Nebraska put on that pedestal of trust our process. We can get you better. We have brought in from Foster to Owen Chambliss to a lot of really good linebackers who were the best linebackers at their previous school. You look at our young linebackers. Dawson Merritt, can't wait for him to get healthy. You got Vincent Shavers, Willis McGahee, Christian Jones. Don't forget about that guy. Won the Buckus Award as the best linebacker in the entire nation his senior year of high school. So we got an exciting crew of potential starting linebackers, depth, youth, guys who can develop. Got to put it all together. All right, we have a special guest. We're going to bring on former Husker, one of my good friends. He has a book that just came out, and he has a heck of a story. If you haven't heard it, my good friend Willie Miller is going to join us after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be Looking
right back.
to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf.
Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail, and of course it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
It's another new year and another exciting edition of the Nebraska Lottery's popular Cash Blast promotion. You know how it works. Until March 24th, buy a 2x2 ticket and get a voucher. Enter online for a chance to win a $5,000 or $500 weekly prize. And if your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. So start out your 2026 with a bang. Enter the Cash Blast promotion today. 2x2 top prize odds are 1 in 105,000.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got a special guest in-house, but before I get to my good friend Willie Miller here, a couple of shout-outs to a couple of good partners of this program. Shout out to Suizo Construction. Ladies and gentlemen, with Suizo, safety is not just a policy, it is a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, both on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business, Suizo Construction. Again, that's SCHWISOW.com. Also, shout out to our good friends and partners at Hamilton Telecommunications. 125 freaking years they've been doing this, since 1901. Bringing you the latest in quality technology and communications services. Learn more about their residential and business services at HamiltonTel.com. Again, that's HamiltonTel.com. At this point in time, I want to bring on the only person I know, and you mentioned it in here, that actually reminded me of it. The only person I know that it's okay to be called a J-skirt. Mr. Willie Miller, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Adam. Thanks for having me on today. It's an honor to be on the show.
Dude, it's an honor to have you. So, a lot of people are aware of your story, but for those who aren't, feel free to kind of catch people up. You have a book that's out. We'll talk about that here in a second, kind of what you're up to doing nowadays, get your thoughts on the current state of Husker football and whatnot. But go ahead and share, just kind of catch people up on your story who may not have heard it before.
Okay, so just to catch those people up, basically went through playing ball, all that good stuff, got done playing, and then life started happening. Life started lifing. And bottom line is I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know how to process my feelings, things like that. And then eventually I ended up making a really piss poor decision where I got in a road rage incident with an off-duty police officer, which caused me to have a felony. And from that felony conviction, during that time, I was on a bunch of medications, thought I was bipolar, actually, was diagnosed that way. Blew up in weight where I was about 350 pounds for over 10 years. And on all those medications. So during that time, there was just a time where I was really trying to figure out what was going on and all that good stuff, and just was really battling with that and thinking that basically that I was kind of crazy, and that's why I needed the meds. And yeah, it made sense that, yeah, sure, I'm bipolar. Okay, that can make sense. Until eventually it did not make sense, where the meds kept going to the doctors. Things just didn't seem like it was working right, things like that. Eventually, the wonderful thing is I finally had a foundation that stepped in 10 years later after I've been on disability, all this kind of stuff, and checked out of life, basically. Foundation stepped in called Nebraska Greats Foundation that helped me to get the back surgery that I needed. And in doing that, finally, that kind of changed everything for me, because physically I started feeling better. Then I was already talking to the doctors already about the med stuff and how that just didn't seem right. So then, I kind of heard you mention a little bit ago that you'd had an experience with Vicodin. And so I was on the pain pills, the whole time through college ball, then when I was done, and through this entire time up until I get the surgery from the Nebraska Greats helping me. That's when I found out I have an issue with that, and I was addicted to it. And then I went to treatment. And that treatment is where I found out that what was really going on with me, when I got brutally honest with myself, is there's a lot of trauma, a lot of things that I never really processed, never discussed, didn't work through. And that's where I found out that I was not bipolar. And that's where the specialist took me off all the medications. And that was life-saving for me, but it was one of those things where I've been on things for so long. I'd used it to handle everything between, anxiety, to the depression, the ups and downs. You just couldn't handle any of those types of deals. And and that's kind of where I ended up. And again, was on disability, at a certain point, and lived at the Salvation Army for almost 2 years. That's just where things were. And by the grace of God, got treatment. And when I got done with that, I came out of that knowing, hey, I wanted to be a nurse. And so I started that journey. I went to Metro and knocked out my prereqs I needed to, because I already had my degree from Lincoln, where I was a 3.5 grad. And so I knocked out the prereqs I needed through Metro to get into Creighton, because I went to Creighton's accelerated nursing program. I got all A's in those courses, and then, was open and honest with Creighton about my whole journey, what all had happened, what had transpired. And the biggest thing for me is I just owned everything. I owned all my actions. There were years where I was upset about that situation that happened with the off-duty, but at the end of the day, the part that matters the most is that I made a decision. And by me making a decision I had to pay for that result. And I had to own that. And by owning that, then I could take responsibility for other things as well in life. And then life started to improve and get better. And so, like I said, Creighton allowed me to come in, finish towards the end of Creighton. I had to apply to the nursing board because, again, with the felony, you have to get the clearance. And then the nursing board gave me a free and clear license to practice. Filling that since I completed treatment, I went through Creighton. I had years of sobriety at that point. So now I get to practice as a nurse. So that's kind of where it led us up to this phase of getting close to the book phase. Yes.
Dude, it's an amazing story, from addiction to being misdiagnosed to, I think a lot of us can relate to things that, just don't get dealt with from our past, and they stick with us, and maybe you don't realize it. Maybe some people don't ever realize, and unfortunately, they don't deal with it. Sometimes it gets brought to your attention. You did probably the hardest thing, which is facing it head on, which allowed you to deal with it and become the man, be in the spot you're at today. You got your nursing degree. Again, the man was a fullback, great player at the University of Nebraska, goes to Creighton, get his nursing degree. Thumbs up on the J-Sker. Anybody else, maybe not 2 thumbs up, but for you, 2 thumbs up all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, my friend. You got your nursing degree. Now, you've also lost a bunch of weight. I've seen you post about this on X. I don't know how comfortable you are talking about that, but go ahead and share whatever you're comfortable with that.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, for over a 10-year period, I ranged anywhere from 350 to 420 pounds. I had a 5XL shirt I was wearing. I was wearing a 7XL, pant bottom. My waist was up to a 58-inch waist where I was at.
Yep.
So the other beautiful thing about when you get your mind right and you're thinking right, it's like everything starts to click. The body starts to go back to how it used to be, things like that. And by the grace of God and all the hard work we put in back in the day with the lifting, then that kind of transformation comes back to you. So that's one of the things that I've been able to do too, is just kind of do a little bit more lifting, but barely any.
Yeah.
Most of this stuff is literally just because of the mental mind work and things that are doing today that keeps me in the right frame of mind and keeps me going. Yeah.
What are the type of workouts? Because obviously you and I don't need to lift heavy anymore. All right. But what are the type of workouts you find yourself doing now?
The simple workouts I do really is just stretch. Like
that
stretching
makes
is the key,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
Stretching is the key. And then it's simple, like 5-10 pound dumbbells. We're talking about, doing like 15, just nice and slow. There's no more heavy weights. None of that. No. Yeah. Those things from making you puke and doing all the heavy stuff, that left that back in Lincoln. Yeah. Today it's just the nice, simple stuff. Yeah.
For sure. So you've got a book now. All right. The Space Between Reaction and Choice, How Integrity Aligned Destiny by Willie Miller. So I'm holding it here. All right. And I just got this in my house because you sent this to me, wrote me a very nice message. Thank you very much for that. That meant a lot to me, by the way. So I'll be honest, I've not had a chance to read it. For folks out there who've not had a chance to read it, for myself before I read it, what can people expect to see, read, and find in your book?
So that's the hard part, right? Is in writing something for you to try and explain it yourself. That's the hard part.
Yep.
But what I can tell you is that I've lived a lot of life. This book is not based on 6 weeks of work or 30 days or 6 months. This is over a decade worth of work that's been done. This is also owning things. I've been married a couple of times. Okay. And the one key thing that's the same key ingredient in every one of those scenarios that didn't work out was me. So what that means is even with marriages and everything in life, I get to evaluate myself. I get to evaluate my own behaviors, and I get to make adjustments. And so those are the type of things that I'm sharing in this book, is because 20 years ago, when I started having what they're talking about today is the battle between ego and shadow work and all this stuff. Again, I just thought, I'm crazy. Here we go. We're bipolar. Now I have an understanding that I just was emotionally illiterate. I had no clue about how to feel, understand, or appropriately handle emotions. I've worked on that like crazy. It's a daily deal. It's a minute deal. It's an all the time deal. My wife does the same. So I put all of that into this book, which is literally, I feel like it's a power, like brief cliff notes. As you see, it's not very thick because no one wants to read hundreds of pages of information. But what I'm doing is I am literally going through specific examples and sharing it with you. And I'll give you an idea of a reference. One of the things that used to get me a little bit was the power state that I would give to a word or words somebody used. One of the things I had to recognize is words have power, sure. Okay. But the meaning that I attach to it or associate with it is what gives it power. Okay. So I had to learn those kind of lessons. And that's what I talk about in this book is, hey, people are going to say words, they're going to do things. You get to pause still. Where again, I started noticing there's so many reactive things that I was doing. And again, when you comes to trauma, it's like you have something, it's like you feel like you have 2 seconds to like clear your whole life and name. It's urgent. You don't even know how to handle it or how to process or say it. So that's something I've also learned is that, you know what, you just have to understand that that's just where you're at. Take a moment, breathe, kind of explain whatever the situation is. But to gain an understanding that that kind of thinking happens due to trauma, like that really helped me a lot. So I can't explain it thoroughly on how I would say the book is, but what I can share is that when I got done writing this book and then reflecting over it for a couple of weeks and looking at it, I wanted to ask somebody who I really trusted what their thoughts were, and somebody who's close to my circle, who's dealt with a lot of athletes, because I thought at the time, maybe this can help athletes. I didn't know who else. So I sent it to Bruce Rasmussen, and I asked Bruce, would he be willing to take a look at this for me? Because I trust Bruce. I know Bruce has a ton of relationships with athletes and everything else. So Bruce took a look. He got back to me a bit later, and he let me know he read it actually twice. And he said that he thought it was a really, really good book and that he was really impressed. He was impressed to the point that he actually had his daughter review it as well.
Okay.
And his daughter, she's a clinical psychologist. And I'm bringing this up so I can kind of read her words to kind of describe potentially what the book is about. Because again, I'll fail at that. So she has here, I'm just going to kind of read this text where it says, I read the manuscript. It was a nice read. It shows a live understanding of how emotions function in our bodies and describes mindfulness in an easy, digestible way, which can be hard to find. It sets realistic expectations of what healing and emotional regulation can look like. I admire what the writer has gone through here, as this is a lot of hard work, and basically saying that Willie should be proud of this. So that's basically that. Does that help kind of give an idea?
I think so.
I don't know, again, because it's one of those things. It's hard to explain it because this is kind of newer stuff, right? And newer ways of thinking and of doing self-management through the day.
So it's funny. I was just kind of flipping through it as you were talking. The page, I'm just going to read you what's on the words on the page I happen to stop on. Just random. All right. Not control, but choice. The day I stopped giving words unchecked authority over me was the day my reaction stopped running my life. Language no longer defined me. Integrity did. And from that place, response became possible. Like, dude, I think you laid it out well, especially when I just kind of flipped through this before I have a chance to fully read it. It's something I don't read a lot of books.
Fair.
Just full disclosure.
Fair.
I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be the next book I read. Okay. I have a daughter who reads a ton of books. she would probably find this interesting as well. She's in high school. She wants to become an author. She wants to do a lot of things, loves to read books, but she loves the psychological approach to a lot of things as well. Now, she's young. She hasn't been through a lot of life yet, but I think this is something she would find interesting. So again, for those interested, all right, The Space Between Reaction and Choice, How Integrity Aligns Destiny by Willie Miller. Now, where can people buy this if they want?
So right now, I did it through books.buy. So
Okay.
books.buy, and it's Willie-Miller on there. And then I can share a link to you too, that maybe share it later.
Perfect.
And we can do that. But
I can do that.
So it's self-published through books.buy at this point. Yes.
That sounds perfect. We got to take a break. When we come back, are you guys talking a little bit of Husker football?
Let's do it.
There's a rumor and innuendo that in an Oklahoma drill, Terrell Farley may have won when you guys went one-on-one, or I just completely made that up for fun. I don't know. Let's talk some Husker football when we come back. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger, or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arboraxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail. And of course, it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want to get to my man, Willie Miller, here. We're going to talk a little bit of Husker football. Former fullback. Now, we talked a little bit off air. Okay, I just asked you this question. Answer however you see fit. I know you're an honest guy. So, but not having a fullback on the roster, is that a little thing? Is that a big thing? Is that overblown thing? Is it an identity thing? What are your thoughts on that?
To me personally, I feel like it's a big thing. You know, I feel like part of Nebraska's tradition is to have a fullback. You know, I think it means a lot to this state and to like the towns and everything to have a fullback. I mean, it just seems weird to have a Nebraska team without a fullback. It just seems weird. Nebraska and no fullback just doesn't seem to go together at all. Nebraska with a fullback, that makes sense to me. So that's what I'll say on that part.
It's just a peanut butter sandwich, not a peanut butter jelly sandwich, right?
There you go.
I hadn't thought of it like that. I like that.
There you go.
I'm going to steal that, by the way. I like
that.
Right?
And one's not as good as the other to a certain extent. Just depends. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, sandwich, yes.
So you and Terrell did cross. Terrell Farley, the Ticket's own. You did cross paths a little bit. Now, you were a little bit younger as he was a little bit older. You got any Terrell Farley, Willie Miller stories? Anything you feel comfortable sharing along those lines?
I will share one of the stories about my recruiting trip and how it was at their house. That later on that evening, I had partaken in some libations, and at a certain point, plus we had the big old wonderful dinner that they do for you, right?
Yep.
And then after that, yes, you're hanging out with the guys doing what you do. And as I said, I knew early that I probably had a problem when it came to the drinking, right? So that night was a night where, put it on. And I was hanging out, and it was actually at Terrell's house. So it was like him. And I was trying to think, it's him and Wilts, maybe Rucker all lived together. And all I can remember is being completely gone. And then all of a sudden the room's spinning. And then I'm literally spinning. And then I'm doing like the Exorcist in their bathroom and getting sick all over the place, and just thinking to myself, these guys are going to kill me, you know? And then, you know, you run into them later on and all that kind of stuff, and they had the jokes and all that funny stuff. But that's kind of like my story of, you know, just happened to have one of those nights where it was just a good time with the fellows, having a good time. And then I was a little worried and afraid how that relationship was going to go from that point on, having messed up their house a little bit.
Seems like it was okay, though. When he saw you, he was happy to see you. So it must be all good now. So.
It's all good now, man. And me and Terrell, we good.
Austin, I don't want to ask all the questions. You got any questions or anything you want to ask Willie here?
Crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter?
Great question. All right. Smooth peanut butter.
Smooth peanut butter?
Smooth peanut butter.
There you go.
All right. Jif too.
Jif too? Okay,
Jif.
not Skippy?
Jif and smooth. No
Skippy.
Skippy. Skippy's got a weird little taste to it.
I agree with you on that.
Jif is the best with creamy.
I agree.
Creamy Jif.
What was harder, spring football or summer conditioning?
Great question. Both sucked. All of it sucked. All of it sucked. So spring conditioning, or you said winter conditioning?
Spring ball or summer conditioning?
Spring ball or summer conditioning. Ooh, summer conditioning. Ooh, and spring ball. Ooh, there and tie, man. It's all horrible. And I'm just going to say, it's all trauma for me. Seriously. Like, it just locked in and go. Because here's the other thing. I learned this is I didn't enjoy playing football, guys. I mean, I use football as my outlet. That's solely it. I did not enjoy being out there doing what I need to do. I'm sorry, I just didn't. But I got my job done by utilizing, that hurt and that pain and whatnot. But I would say yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't think you're alone in that. Now, a lot of guys love football. Some guys like football. Some guys, it's an outlet. Sometimes it's a means to getting out of a tough situation, whether you like it, love it, dislike it, or whatever the case may be. I appreciate your honesty. And here's the deal, dude. you finished. You went all the way through. Like from freshman to redshirting to senior year, you went all the way through. And I looked up some of your accolades here. Like you finished strong. You guys curb stomped Tennessee in that Fiesta Bowl. Had your best game in your last game. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, yeah, that Fiesta Bowl, that was a big one for us. That was actually the end of my junior season, and that was McBride's last game. And that one was a big one for me, man, because I love McBride. Coach McBride was awesome and is awesome, and he's one of those guys you just want to play for. And going against the ones all the time, and he knew I gave it to his guys the best I could, so therefore he liked me. So that game was a very special game, and I put it all on the line that game. And I just remembered, Tennessee was talking all this trash about how they're going to stop us and how we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. And we actually took that personally. And here's the part. When you get me to take something personally, that means you talked a lot, because I'll sit back and like I told you just a minute ago, I don't care. It's football. I mean, whatever. But I was a little frustrated because, they're like, we won't move the ball on them. We did about 3 90-yard drives on that because, we took a little personally. Dan was doing his thing, Buckhalter was doing his thing as well, and then Eric was running the rock, and so we had a great game, man. It was good stuff. Dom, that whole line, Russ. I mean, it it was good stuff.
I remember you guys won by about 10, but you took a knee on their 10-yard line. You could have easily won by 3 possessions, easily. I remember that at the end of the game.
One of those interesting games.
It was. Dude, my friend, thank you for joining me. I hope you're always welcome. Again, check out the book, The Space Between Reaction and Choice, How Integrity Aligns Destiny by Willie Miller. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a glorious day. Enjoy the cold weather. Go Big Red, and always remember to throw the bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues